Hi everyone, and welcome to the Virgo December 2022 New Year's Miracle Reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance. So in this reading today, we're going to be taking a look at a miracle that wants to come in for you as we move from 2022 into the new year, 2023. And we're going to start here by pulling a card. Oops, let me make sure. Yep. Just want to make sure I have the cards in the right direction. We're going to be pulling a card here to start the reading. And this is going to be kind of what I like to call the spiritual compass point. This is where Spirit is asking you to focus your internal spiritual gaze towards some aspect of your experience so that you can be aware and ready for the miracle that wants to come in to usher in a level of abundance and prosperity for you in a specific area of your life in the new year. So I am a huge believer in miracles, and it doesn't always have to mean miracles that are large scale. It can be miracles that are small, running into that person in the grocery store or on your travels your relationship ends up changing your life, or the email that you get from an old person you used to work with and suddenly you have a whole new career path opening up through a job opportunity. It's these small little things that often can go, it's the miracles that we sometimes miss because we are either looking in the wrong direction. We want a miracle to come in over here, but in reality, to bring in the level of abundance that's meant for us, we need to be looking over here. Or it can be that we simply just don't take Spirit up on the opportunity. We don't stop to say hi to that person we recognize in the grocery store. Or we choose not to answer the email from that old friend, maybe offering us a different job. And so here in this reading, we're going to be getting some help from Spirit to say, okay, well, where should we be looking? Where is this miracle that wants to come in for us? So it says fork in the road. It's number 13, which breaks down to a number 4. It's beautiful energy. So number 13 in the tarot is the number of death and transformation. It's one where we get to kind of break down what has been to, the number 4, rebuild on a stronger, more firm foundation. And with the fork in the road, I always find this an interesting card because it looks like it's almost like a llama here with deer horns, and there's an owl on his back looking in one direction. There's kind of the apple of temptation sitting here. And then there's all of these like little signs, signposts here. So it's one of those things where I think there is a choice to be made. And this card for me always seems with the owl and the apple sitting there. There's a choice to take the way of Spirit, going in the way that is actually going to help us further and grow our potential, our spiritual potential. Or we can choose the apple, the temptation, something that may seem on paper either something that's going to maybe give us more money but not fulfill us on a spiritual level, or something that maybe seems shiny and pretty because our society or someone in your experience tells you that. And so you kind of deny yourself the true knowledge with the owl saying this is the way to go. So I'm going to start by first reading the excerpt that comes with this oracle deck here for this card, and then we'll dive into pulling more cards to dive deeper into the message for you. So we have number 13. It says, fork in the road. Time to make a decision, considering the consequences as you prepare to act, owning up to your obligation to make a necessary choice. And then it says the oracle's message. Every choice has a consequence. You've arrived at a fork in the road and are being asked to come to a decision. Will you further your dreams by choosing left or by choosing right? Will you take the road less traveled or the one well worn by others who have come before you? This is your choice and yours alone to make. Circumstances and other people will not make it for you. Be present and do not avoid this junction, for it is an important crossroads. Take heart, as no matter which path you choose, you will have a rich and meaningful experience. So I like that it says that no matter which path you choose, ultimately, and I am a big believer in this. I'm just going to kind of go and let you know from my perspective how I see our personal path. We are never off our personal path. We simply can hit roadblocks that we're not emotionally or spiritually prepared to move past. And these can be challenge points in our life, where we know that we have to leave a specific relationship that no longer serves us, or where we have to make a difficult decision on a career path, or even just where maybe we're faced with something that comes in out of the blue, the death of a loved one, or the loss of a home, something like that, where we just, again, are not prepared. We have to kind of deal with what's there. And when we're ready, then we'll continue on down our path towards reaching our ultimate potential, our ultimate level of emotional fulfillment. But with this too, we always have choices. And the choice is more not which, right or left, because ultimately all roads lead to your potential, towards your ultimate fulfillment. This is about what I'm getting intuitively for you guys is taking action. And taking action from getting to that kind of integral place of your internal why. Why are you choosing to move forward at this point in this way? So, for instance, if you maybe have had a emotional block, you've been kind of just sitting on your path, you haven't been ready to move forward, but now you're ready to start moving forward again. Well, what is the intention? Is the intention just to simply continue on the journey and you're excited to see what kind of comes in your way? Or are you choosing a specific goal, meaning that, you finally look down the road a little bit, you realize that there's something kind of shiny and, almost like the apple tempting you to start going again. Maybe this is the promise of a new career path. Maybe this is the promise of a little bit more money than what you have now. So it's starting to get you, kind of giving you the motivation, or it's the promise of maybe unlocking a little bit of a creative aspect of yourself. But there's something here about making the choice to just start moving on your path again, to start moving forward out of maybe perhaps a cycle you've been stuck in for some time. Now, I'm also going to read the prosperity message here because that's really what we're looking at, is where does Spirit want to bring in prosperity for you through this miracle in the new year. So it says, you've come as far as you can on this part of your journey, and now you're faced with a choice. Inherent in this choice is the need for change, for evolution, and for a bettering of your circumstances. Narrow it down to just a single question. Who do I need to become, and what do I need to believe in order to live a life of prosperity? Answer honestly and from the heart. Then the decision about which way to go will be effortless. Know that abundance is all around you. Choose to see it, and it will be easier to settle on a direction. For the way will be made clear by your intuition, which knows how to steer you towards your well-being. And I like that because that's kind of coming back to the owl here, that, kind of spiritual representation of tapping into universal knowledge through our intuition. So I really think this is when we're thinking about kind of keeping our gaze towards a spiritual compass point, this is starting to put your gaze forward. Where are you going from here? The fork in the road is not a decision as far as which way to take. The decision is starting to move in a forward progression instead of just kind of staying where you've been. There's an evolution and a growth point here. So it's more about getting in touch with your why, knowing now that this is time to start a new cycle perhaps, or again, a journey towards something new. Why? What is your meaning behind that? Is it simply, again, just to start to see what's out there and be curious? Or is it because there's something that looks tempting and juicy and you're ready to start trusting your intuition to take you there? Okay, so now I'm going to pull a few more cards here. We'll also pull some clarifiers to get a little deeper into the message. So I'm going to pull a card here to see what the energy is coming up for the new year. So let's see, what does Virgo need to know about 2023 and the energy that's coming in for them? Now, for some of you too, I'm just hearing that this could be around love or a relationship, that this could be something where maybe you're making the choice to commit to a relationship or commit to finding that one for yourself. It could be the journey of the heart, but this could also be a journey of the next evolution in your career. This could be the journey of your next evolution in, upgrading your family life. There's all kinds of ways we can choose to start moving forward and past the point where we are now. So this could be keeping our eye on a growth in our, and actually we'll see if that comes out again, but there's a lot of cards tied to that. So what does Virgo need to know about the energy? Oh, I love this. Okay, so interesting. I was kind of speaking to the romantic element of it because we have here woman holding a heart, number 44. I love this number because it's an angelic number. It's a double 4. So it's building that firm foundation, but kind of with almost the help of the angelic realms. And then we break that down to the number 8. And the number 8 is a number of personal empowerment, empowered leadership, and it's also about physical abundance. Now, it's interesting because I think it was for, I want to say Gemini, it might have been. They had man holding a heart, but you guys have woman holding a heart. And so this is the feminine energy of that, where the feminine energy of anything. So when we look at feminine and masculine is the pushing forward. It is the innovative, creating something new, where the feminine is the receptive. This is where she's open and receiving of others. So she shows her heart vulnerably, but she's not pushing it on anybody. She's simply just kind of in a state of waiting. And I think for many of you, this could be one of two things. For those of you looking for a new relationship in the new year, this can be that you are bringing in this energy and will kind of attract towards you the right individual. Or this can be where simply this is the energy of the new year, and it is one where you are going to, what I like to hear in my mind is the journey of the heart. This is going to be where you are opening back up to living from a heart-centered place, but in a vulnerable way, in a way where you don't, when I saw the other card come up, it was the mask card. And I think for some of you, for a long time, you've had a mask up in some aspect of your experience. And that's maybe why you've been a little stuck in a holding pattern on an emotional and spiritual level, continuing down your journey. And this is saying this is going to be the year that's going to help you open up on that level. Yeah. And so we have the number 4 here coming up. This is the 4 of Pentacles. This is where I think you guys have been holding yourself back. This is an individual who has just enough in the physical, but doesn't want to release any of that because out of fear that, and what's interesting is if you can see in this card, I know they're very small, it's an individual holding a pentacle in front of him and in front of his heart here. And it's almost like for some of you, you've been clinging to the physical in trying to kind of block, I think, the vulnerable element of your heart. So you've been really focused on getting yourself to a place of stability, getting yourself to a place where you have enough physically, but it's been almost in protection of the vulnerability of your heart that maybe had been wounded at some point. And so this is going to be a beautiful year that's going to actually help you open up again, open up that part of yourself. So let's see what else wants to come out for you, Virgo. So for some of you, this could just be getting in touch. Oh, I love this. Yeah, 6 of Swords and the King of Pentacles. 6 of Swords is a card of moving on. It's a card of going from kind of stormy waters to smooth sailing. And it generally means you are going with others, with others moving away again from something that had been a little tumultuous into kind of the dawning of a new day. So this card ultimately just means moving on. And I think for many of you, with the King of Pentacles coming in here, I think there's a realization that, you've been sitting kind of in this place of saving, of maybe being even miserly, but also of just, making sure that you've got yourself to a financially stable place. But now there's this feeling here with the King of Pentacles and the 6 of Swords that now it's moving on from maybe perhaps wounding that had come through here and realizing that you guys have become the king, that you guys have somehow mastered something. You've mastered being able to, in a way, manipulate your physical environment. That maybe at one point you had been here with just enough, but now you're here and it's time to start to move on from this point. We can kind of get stuck sometimes in that place of feeling like, okay, I finally got to the stable place, everything's good, and then we get stuck there. We don't realize that we've actually mastered saving, or we've mastered building, we've mastered creating something, and it's time to kind of own that. When we get to the king status, kings are when you've mastered some aspect of our experience, and with King of Pentacles, that's your physical environment. But there's also an element with the kings that come in that they are of service to their kingdom. They are beholden generally to others. So they have to then go out there and use their kingly abilities to continue to grow the welfare of the kingdom. And I think for some of you, there's a realization here of just how much there is for you to, if you can kind of move on, I think, from where you've been. You can kind of move past that and realize it's now time to go out there, and this next evolution is going to allow you to kind of take, I think, the skill set that you've learned and be able to do something with that can be of service. And if you can come from that place of just that heart-centered awareness, you might actually find others that can benefit from this skill set. This could be where you are leveling up into a more senior level position in your job. This is where you're leveling up perhaps into building something bigger and stronger for your family. So very interesting here. I like that, there's the Four of Pentacles again, I think, where you guys are kind of holding your cards close to the chest. And now it's time to move on and step up into this kind of boss energy. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull another card here from our Power of Surrender deck. And this is going to be advice from Spirit as to where to surrender yourself to really allow this miracle to come in for you. The miracle that wants to come in the second that you choose to kind of, I think, own this kingly awareness of where you have become a king, where you have mastered some aspect in your experience, and where you're now ready to take the first step forward on your path again as this version of yourself. Okay, so let's go ahead here and see what wants to come in. What does Virgo need to know about where they should surrender? Oh, I like that. Okay, surrender stress. It says, take a few deep breaths and exhale the tension you've built up in your body. Let the stress go as you come back to your center. Beautiful. So this is really saying, again, it's not about, sometimes we forget that when we need to start moving forward on our path again, we need to start growing and start utilizing an aspect of ourselves that is meant to really kind of open up the next chapter for ourselves. It isn't about stressing. It isn't about the worry that comes with that. It's about looking forward more with excited anticipation as to what the journey ahead holds for us. So this is really, again, just kind of moving into the new year in a state of kind of suspended anticipation, which is always beautiful. Okay, so we have the Page of Swords, which I like. That's a card of gathering more information. It's a card of trying to find the context of who you are now, the truth of who you are now. So this is kind of starting the journey of the new you, of where do you fit in with all of this mastery? Where can it be of use? And I think for some of you, it can, again, usher in a new romantic. This is almost like if you can own your power, either own your power in a romantic sense. This can even be where sometimes we realize what we can bring to a relationship. We bring our ability to manifest in the physical, and that's what we bring to that experience. Or we realize, that in stepping up into this kind of heightened version of ourselves, we get to attract in, we can open up our heart center. You notice this individual is not blocking his heart with his belongings. He's holding it off to the side, kind of proudly sitting on his throne of everything that he's created for himself. And he gets to kind of open himself up to who wants to be attracted to that. Now we also have the Devil coming in here. So I think for some of you, there's a little bit of, the Devil is Capricorn energy. And we are actually moving into not only Capricorn season as I'm completing this reading for you guys, but Capricorn plays a big place here on the 23rd. We have a new moon in Capricorn, which is kind of like the cosmic reset point for all of us. But it's a cosmic reset point as to where we want to start to work hard to achieve the next large goal for ourselves. And the beautiful energy of Capricorn is that it tells us if we put in the work, it's the taskmaster. It's a sign that's ruled by Saturn, which is the timekeeper. So there's an element here of holding ourselves accountable to achieving a goal in a certain amount of time. So learning how to master our daily routine, learning how to master how we hold ourselves accountable. And the devil comes in a little bit like that. So there's, I think for some of you, a little bit with the Page of Swords and the devil coming in, a little bit of having to do some research as to where maybe you've been holding yourself back from creating healthy routines, where something needs to change in this way. Part of that could actually be the surrendering of stress. Maybe some of you have been pushing yourself too hard, stressing yourself out too much. With this coming in as well, this can be finally moving on from trying to maybe achieve a level of success in your life that maybe has not been healthy for you, meaning like trying to focus too much on the physical and not focusing enough on the heart. This does still show me that many of you have leveled up. You are in a kingly status, but it's almost like now it's time to move on from the focus of the physical and move on to the focus of taking action from the heart. And that's what's really going to help heal what's your current place to allow you to move forward with this kind of fresh perspective. So this is really a great place to kind of see, I think, where some of you have been stressed, where you've been too stressed out because you've been too focused and maybe working too hard, not giving yourself a break, not giving yourself a time off. And so when you're thinking about what you are hoping to move towards in the next part of your journey, what is that? Is it where you get to spend more time with your family? Is it where you get to maybe change your schedule at work, where you get to kind of work smarter, not harder? Is it maybe the reverse? Maybe you've worked so hard to do something in the home, but now it's time for you to go outside of the home to focus on creative endeavors. But this is really looking at where you've been holding yourself back, where you've been doing something in your life in a daily routine that has not made you feel good, and that's maybe brought a level of stress. And so this is, if you can really kind of keep your eye open here and be the Page of Swords, be kind of that open, curious, almost childlike energy of, okay, what's the truth of where I've been holding myself back and why? And where can I use stress, where I feel stress, to kind of point me in that direction? So you can start your journey with the right foot forward. Okay, so I'm going to pull a card here from the Animal Oracle deck to get an additional message for the year ahead. So what does Virgo need to know? So again, the miracle is going to come in the second you open your heart up and make the choice to start to move forward. Oh, and I love this. I love it. Electric Eel Spirit, bring your ideas to life. Number 24, breaking down to a number 6, the energy of love, the energy of home and family, the energy of, there is a creative element to the number 6 that actually the symbol looks like, a pregnant woman. And it's also working together with others for a common spiritual goal. So this is beautiful. So there's something here about really, again, leaning into what it is that is tempting you to move forward now down your path, to bring you out of where you are to where you are hoping to be. This is a really beautiful reading for the new year. It is going to be heart-centered. I think for some of you, the focus is going to shift away from the physical and more towards the emotional, heart-centeredness, so that this will be a journey then of reconnecting to yourself emotionally and spiritually, and allowing yourself to break some chains, I think, that kind of have held you to the place you are now, so that you can continue on your journey, make the choice, where are you going and why, to bring what ideas to life. All right. I will leave you there, Virgo. I hope you've enjoyed this reading. I wish you all a wonderful New Year's and a very successful and bright new year ahead. If you would like to book your own personal reading to see what is coming up for you in 2023, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website. Otherwise, I will see you all in January for the Illumination reading for the new year. All right. Bye, everyone.